Well, you can mention personalized workouts, group training sessions, yoga, meditation, nutrition, boot camps, workshops, retreats, and Tanya Robertson can easily check off every single one of those off the list a number of times over. Her passion for health, wellness, fitness, and self-care continues to be her driving force and something she's incredibly proud of because she's built an amazing business. My relationship with Tanya dates back quite some time. We're thinking about 20 years in terms of our friendship, at least 10 years as her coming on as one of my experts for Today's the Day for my CTV Morning Live segments. And I'm really excited to see just how far she has expanded the work from just even the times that we had been doing all of our filming. So welcome to this episode of Living Your Life with Lianne Laing, the podcast brought to you by Extension Marketing. And for more information, you can always check out extensionmarketing.com. Hi, sweetie.
Hello.
Okay, I'm going to give everyone a heads up. You had the entire Extension Marketing team this morning, like with their jaws on the floor with how open and how honest and how real you can get about life.
Life, sex, everything. Just putting it out there.
Do you usually
people up?
You definitely woke the entire office up. I just love, like, do you always, you're bold.
I'm bold. I like being unfiltered. I like saying what's on my mind. Maybe shocking people a little. Like it's
it's not that that's shocking. It's that no one actually says the things that they're thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Or reveals things that are maybe happening out loud.
Yeah.
And you're
I've
good.
been in a fortunate situation where I've never had to overly filter myself. I've always run my own business and worked for myself. So I've never had to had people I've had people tell me to settle down, but I haven't had to. I've been in charge of my own life,
You really have.
Yeah.
And it's been a life that's taken a number of different twists and turns and like U-turns and roller coaster up and roller coaster down. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
But all with the background of this interest and this passion for health and wellness.
Yeah. I've had that kind of got into me at the age of 14 and I've never looked back. Like everything I've done has been based around that passion for health and fitness.
It was if I remember correctly, because you and your sister, Andrea, are both very active and have been in this industry for quite some time. Was it the upbringing? Where does this come from?
Maybe a little bit. I know my mom, when we were younger, used to teach fitness classes, and she would bring us. And my mom, I remember for her mental health, I remember her going for a jog and leaving us with the neighbors, and then the neighbor would, swap and we'd take care of her, the kids.
So your mom would go for the run, swap the kids, and then
I was very aware of my mom's kind of, and she did more her personal stuff, but she stopped doing her health, teaching health and fitness or teaching her fitness classes because it was a bit much after time. But she was always very, she always ran, she always walked, she meditated. I remember her meditating a lot when I was younger. So she always had that self-care, but she never pushed it on us. Mm-hmm. I just watched her do it.
And to be able to say that you were meditating back when it wasn't the cool thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Like meditation.
It's become a thing now,
40 years ago, right, is different.
Yeah. It was, it's been it's interesting. It's really great to see it evolving because it's now becoming a little bit more fluent. You see it a lot more. There's meditation studios opening up because I am such a big believer in that integral part of health and wellness, and depression, anxiety, it's just because it's at the forefront of our society right now. Mm-hmm. I find like everywhere you look, people are very dealing with depression and anxiety. And I think fitness is really important and nutrition is really important, but just as important is that quiet time, that time to reflect, to go inside, to sit and calm the body, mind.
So no, it's great. And it's interesting because as I'm doing more of these interviews and talking to more health professionals, I see the benefits and I look on my social media and I'm inundated with like meditation apps and like because they find you. Facebook, they all find you. But it was interesting. The other day I had something just went really wrong and I was at the dining room table working on my computer and all of a sudden I'm just like, okay, everyone wants to talk about this, take the 3 breaths and do whatever. I literally got out from the dining room table, laid underneath the dining room table and tried to do this breathing. I found like one of these things on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's a 5-minute thing. Let's see if it works. And you know what, to be honest with you, there was something, right? At least it triggered me to take some deep breaths and to slow my thinking down and to regroup a little bit. So I found it interesting. We'll get to kind of how you bring it into your practice. Mm-hmm. So you were 14, realized the essence of this healthy lifestyle. Was food also like if your mom was running and doing all of this?
Yeah, we were pretty health conscious. Like I know her parents weren't as healthy, I would say. You know, it was more fried food back in the day and stuff like that for her family. So she was very conscious. She had parents that died at a younger age and maybe more due to lifestyle and health. So my mom was very, very aware of that. So we ate pretty healthy. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't into sports. I wasn't into actually any physical activity that way. And I got a job at the YMCA and something clicked when I was at the Y. And one day I was just working at the front desk. And one day I think the instructor didn't show up and I might've been 14 and a half or 15. And I just jumped in and I was like, I'll teach. And something clicked. Like I got in front of everybody. Maybe because I'm a bit of a drama, I like the attention type of thing at that age. But I really liked it. I really like motivating people to move. It was very exciting to me. So that kind of
But coming from someone who hadn't really done it.
Yeah, I hadn't done any of it. And to be honest, I wasn't really a kid that was like doing any kind of sports or running. I just didn't do any of that. So the gym was where, at the Y, I started weight training from there and everything went. And then in high school, I organized group fitness classes at lunch. So that entrepreneurial part came in where I was like, I'm going to like coordinate and run these activities. And so for all the women, I used to do like Thai boat,
Oh my God, I remember that. Yes, I remember the Thai boat days.
All those classes. And we had a little studio at Colonel High School, and I just used to run classes at lunchtime. And I started from there, and then I just, I worked at the Good Life at the Market Mall, and just kind of went from there, working at tons of different gyms, wearing different hats.
What was the hat that you least liked, and what was the hat that you most liked to be able to say, I need to do this on my own?
I least like being told what to do. I didn't like working for, much love to Good Life or any big company like that, but I didn't like the constraints. I don't like being constrained. I don't like having, you don't have your name tag on. You got to say the sales pitch, the selling. I'm not a salesperson. The pressure to kind of make people buy training sessions, all that stuff I don't like. I don't like pushing people. I didn't like that. I also don't, this too. I'm not a big advertising. Like I just like teaching and training and motivating. I'm not good at all the other stuff per se. But yeah, it was working for other people. I didn't like the constraints. I remember one time I wanted to take a client outside for a run because I like changing things up all the time when I'm training with people. And they were like, well, make sure you wear the Good Life jacket and make sure you wear your name tag. And you're like, I don't really want to do that on my run. So it's like little things like that just,
But it's funny because those are the little things that you do with your clients now.
Yeah.
It's like a change of, we're not going to do that. We're actually going outside.
Exactly. And that's what works for me. And that's what people like. So it was that kind of stuff. It was any of the boxed in constraints. I'm very much, as soon as I'm being told what to do and people put me in a box, I just want to, I'm very much a Gypsy trainer and very much want to be, have my own drums.
Oh my gosh, Gypsy trainer. We're going to be getting into her snowshoe boot camps and her fermenting classes. Yeah. Trust me, you think outside the box here. So you're a young age. You know that this is the route you're going to go.
Yeah, I remember being like, people were like, "What do you want to do?" In grade 11 and 12, they're like, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I was like, "I'm going to be a fitness trainer." And they're like, "Well, you can't just be a fitness trainer. What are you going to do?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to be It was the one thing I knew I wanted to do." And the amount of people that you can't make a living out of this, and it's interesting to see the progression now of
it's a massive billion-dollar industry,
right? And it's very much going in that direction. So back 25 years ago or more, when I was doing it, it just wasn't a thing.
There needs to be, and I'm assuming too with these parents, it's like, great, you want to be a trainer, but what's your education? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So what was that path that you needed to follow?
For that, I did a bunch of stuff. So I went to Ottawa U. I took all my human kinetics. I took leisure. I took nutrition. I took a bunch of courses. I picked and choose courses that would, help me on my journey. I did a lot of different certifications. So for me, I did my CanFit Pro, my YMCA. I did different personal training certifications so I could get different perspectives. I went back to school for holistic nutrition. I believe in holistic health. So in my head, I didn't want to just be a trainer. I wanted to get all aspects of that. So I wanted to train you nutritionally, physically, and then mindfully, you know? So I kind of went for all these different avenues over the years. And
you were doing that. And I think you were doing holistic nutrition when it just...
Yeah,
really
right at the
started.
beginning. Now, again, now it's like this.
Now
everybody's a you know, everybody's a trainer. I went back for yoga as well to kind of incorporate, you know, all that different stuff.
I think it's a little interesting for us because we do go back.
So
we're right at the cusp of the age
Right.
where we're one generation before, I feel.
Yeah.
And we're the generation before we get to the Instagrams and the
Totally.
online stuff and everything that's there.
Yeah.
When you studied, like you really studied what it was that you were doing before people thought it was cool.
Yeah.
If that's a fair way to say it. There was a little bit of moving and a little bit of motherhood. Early, can I say early motherhood?
Sort of.
A little
29. I was 29. Is
Oh.
that, yeah.
Why did I think
I
you were
know.
so much younger?
Because I look young.
Because you
I
were
don't know.
looked so young.
No, I looked young at 29. So, but yeah, 29, which when you
Okay,
think about it
totally
is
normal.
reasonable.
Right.
Yeah.
More than reasonable. I don't know why I was thinking you were so
Everybody
young.
thinks that. I think it's like I looked young at 29. And I feel like I had kids before all my friends did.
Yeah.
Like you know, so it seems like I don't know.
So no, not
I know.
really. But you were away. You were away for a little while.
Yeah.
Love took you. Love and sport.
Yeah. Her
Took you-
dad, yeah. We went to Saskatchewan. This is before she was born, too. Her father played football. Is this what you're...
Yeah,
And I went there.
I remember because I covered Usman.
Yes,
As-
right
as
before,
when
I think.
when I was doing sports. I was
Yeah.
covering sports. I remember interviewing him
Yeah,
as a player.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the then Renegades. No.
Alouettes. Yeah,
and
and Rough Rider
Was it-
is when he just kind of ended. I should know this.
I know. I'm just trying to remember.
I feel
what
like
team
it was like
then.
Ottawa U. He was playing like him and Chris of Rare were, you know,
Yes.
and then he went from Ottawa U to Washington Redskins and then got cut and then went to Saskatchewan and then we moved to Saskatchewan, Regina, which
Wasn't great years.
I didn't love it there.
How long were you out there for?
Just a season. That was enough for me. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you were home.
Yeah, and then I was home, and then I was like, I'm good.
With all of it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not so, yeah. I wanted to build my own business and do my own thing here. Yeah.
When was the creation of personalized fitness?
1999. When I was bartending for quite a few years at Bulldog. Remember that? This is where
I
we
remember
connect.
this is where Tanya and I met. So anyone who's from the area
Right.
would remember the days
Bulldog
of the
days.
Bulldog, which was
Those are
they
good
were epic.
days. Like those are good.
They were epic.
Those are memorable good times. I still run into people now, you know,
Me
at
too.
different health and fitness events or different events I'm at that were like, I don't remember their name, but you're Ryan Coke.
Yeah, you remember their drink.
Yeah.
I remember and I see people now, and we're
Right?
out at events and with our kids, and it's just like these flashbacks, right, to being in your early 20s.
Yeah.
and
God, those are fun
those
times.
were very fun years.
Yeah, so those are fun. That was like, you know, at the time I'd be training and teaching and doing health stuff during the day and then feeding them alcohol at night. So it was quite balanced.
Very balanced.
Right?
Absolutely. Such is your life. So personalized fitness is born. It
Yeah.
starts with what kind of a clientele?
I had brought a lot of my clientele. So I had gone to Australia and I worked in Australia as a fitness trainer and got some certifications there to teach this body pump and body system and do some nutrition work in Australia. And again, just for that variety, change of pace, leaving the bartending scene. And then I came back and I started personalized fitness. I brought a lot of my clients, sorry, good life, came, you know, with me. And I was just doing it out of my house. So for me, I was able to kind of charge a little cheaper price. So my entrepreneur brain was like, they're paying this at the club. I don't have to give as much of a cut, you know, and I can run this out of my house. So my clients and I would train outside. I had a super small studio in my apartment.
But you don't need much space.
You
I think what
don't.
I'm
That was-
realizing, right, is
right?
and especially too when I'm doing my no gym required, you don't need,
No.
it's great to have, and I still love going to the gym and getting those workouts, but you can get the full body workout done.
Yeah. And it's not realistic for a lot of people. Like a lot of people have these long work days. It's very busy. So I find either, doing a little workout at home, a lot of people don't want to come home, get everything, unwind from the day and then go to the gym. Or going on the way home takes up a lot of time. So just being able to do something at home and, even your videos I find so useful to, just take 15 minutes out to move, like there's tons of stuff you can do in your living room, hallway.
We'll get to some of your favorite movements in a little bit. Because I want to kind of get through the progression, because not only did it start with just you working out in the apartment and a home gym, but then it expanded into, I think, the corporate world, looking at what you were doing and what the employees needed, because you started to work a lot in businesses, in hospitals, like it really expanded out. Yeah.
Hospitals and corporate business, like I started doing coordinating. So I worked at Export Development Canada for a bit over 10 years and just did their corporate coordinating. So helping to organize their lunchtime, fitness classes and teaching them as well, but also running like workshops and things like that. From there, like right now I'm at Briere Hospital, doing that for the employees at Briere.
What does it take for a company to realize the investment in doing this for their employees and having this?
Probably seeing the outcome. There's at Briere Hospital especially, it's the work-life balance is quite challenging for a lot of the employees. It's an intense environment. It's looking at the numbers, I think, of, we had to sit down and go, okay, there's a lot of people on stress leave right now. There's a lot of people getting injured right now. It's looking at a lot of those stats and then them sitting down and going, okay, especially with me, they sat down with me, like, what can we do? Like, what's our plan of action? And then you have to also work with a budget and what kind of money you have to put towards this. And, so that's where I come into.
But what are they looking for their employees to do? Take the time during the day to go and work on
Is
self-care?
Yeah. So they're looking at that, but they're also looking at how can we motivate them to do that for themselves, right? Because they can't hold their hand and drag them. They can offer all this, but how do you motivate the employee to do it?
How do you do that?
Yeah, honestly, I find personality. I honestly find that it's like, you go to these certain classes with people and like, this is why I tend to like being unfiltered or teaching, teaching in a very unfiltered.
Say what you think.
But, if they're coming to, I'll speak for myself. If they're coming to my class and I'm really relaxed, the other day I was talking about the Diva Cup in my class that I started taking or started taking. But just anything, I will definitely talk about inappropriate things. I definitely swear in my class. I want it to make it a very unpolitical, unfiltered environment where people could just go and I may be saying things that shock them a little so they're getting out of their head. Like there's a purpose around it because I want them to just let go of work, have fun, the music, the environment, creating a community so you really feel like, I think that community feel, this is why people like gyms, stuff like that, because they feel like they're part of something and they're missing out if they're not there. You have to create that, especially at Briere Hospital, we got to a point where there wasn't a lot of people in the fitness classes or using them. So it's when they do come to try it out and I can talk them into coming to one of my classes, well, now I got to keep it entertaining for them and I got to make them feel good. There's a lot of positive reinforcement and joking around and connecting and eye contact. It's that energy.
Have you seen a correlation between the employees that are taking sick leave or stress leave and coming back and doing these classes or staying with it longer or seeing a payoff that in the middle of their workday or something that they have something like this?
Yeah, I do. I've seen the ones because I've now been there for about 4 years and I see the consistency, the difference between the employees who are making the time or making the time, I would say. And most of them are parents, right? So for them to be able to work out at noon on site at their job, like this is a big thing, I think, for a lot of corporate, facilities to have some kind of gym or some kind of organized fitness going on for the employees, because once they start doing it, then you're done. Like you've got a break in the middle of the day, your brain's got a break, your mind's got a break, your body's getting physically active, and then you go back to work and you're feeling better. So I've seen, and we've seen number wise, so we're following stats and stuff like that. So we're seeing the improvement in that, but it's walking around the hospital. It's seeing that kind of energy. It's walking around and being like, is showing up next week, and injuries going away. I had, for example, one of my occupational therapists who's had back issues for years, and so it's small things like her the other day going, wow, ever since I've been doing yoga twice a week here, my back, I have zero back pain. A lot of the nurses have a lot of kind of shoulder back issues, so we're noticing a lot of, it's small little things with people, but they're not as
Well, they're small little things that
big deal
affect them every day.
Yeah.
That end up being the big deal.
Yeah.
So you were able to see, are you enjoying the work at Briere then?
Oh, I love it. Like I love my job. Like I feel like I'm one of the only ones lately, because I'm hearing a lot of my friends who are like, oh my God, I got to go to work. But I really enjoy it. I like the connection with people. I like connecting. I like making them feel good. I like leaving where I've made them either laugh or crack up because I've said something inappropriate, or just that feel good where they've just walked away and their stress is just minimized, or.
This is you on the corporate level, but not being bossed around, because you're still your boss.
Yep.
Doing this. I'll make that really clear. When you look at me, like looking at your Insta or your social, I see you out, like you're doing these boot camps and these snowshoeing and these, is it fermentation?
Yeah, the fermentation workshops.
Like how all encompassing is it to think these aren't typical things that people normally think of doing?
Yeah, like I very much like going against the grain with things, or trying to figure out something that's just off kilter. So for me, nutrition wise specifically, like we'll talk, like say what I mean this way is nutritionally, I feel like everybody knows about carbohydrates and protein, and like, it's so talked about, right? But what's not as talked about is fermenting foods, and fermenting foods, just having fermented foods in your diet, like does a plethora of healthy things to your body. So it's finding those little niches where I feel like I'm pretty good at going, that's big. Like that's going to be a thing. That's so super important. We used to ferment our food years ago. Why are we not fermenting anymore? A lot of other cultures ferment their foods. Like what are the benefits? Why aren't we doing it?
So let's get to those, because I know it's a big part of what you're doing. And I think I've had a lot of people in here talking about gut health.
Yes.
Right. And how the gut is pretty much guiding what is happening with the rest of your
brain,
body.
Everything.
So go through what your classes are, what people are trying to learn, what you're trying to emphasize, and what's coming out of it.
This podcast is brought to you by Extension Marketing. They are a new breed of marketing agency that acts as your virtual marketing department, designing and implementing cost-effective marketing strategies that will grow your business. I can speak to this personally, as I've been using the Extension Marketing team to help me launch and grow my business. Founder Pat Whalen has been a lifesaver for me, a genuine coach guiding me along the way into uncharted territory. Tell them you're a friend of the show and receive a free 1-hour consultation. Check them out at extensionmarketing.com.
I'm trying to get people to, my goal is just even small in Ottawa is to make it where way more of the population in Ottawa is starting to ferment their food. I want to get back to that, the fermenting,
By fermenting, I'm going to go,
right
back to the beginning. What are you referring to when we say fermenting?
So let's take carrots, for example. It's a matter of fermenting carrots would be you're creating a base of a brine, we would say. So fermenting vegetables would be a brine of like salt water and water, and letting it sit on the counter for a certain amount of time. There's a process to it, whether you're making kefir or fermenting vegetables, but basically you're activating the live bacteria in it. It's a lot of, it's how we kind of used to maintain the shelf life of food, and it's boosting the food and the nutritional value in it. The probiotics, so to speak, in it are very, very high and much easier to digest, I would say, than a pill. So it's getting that process of the food and teaching people how to kind of shelf life their food without getting food, from the grocery store that has a bunch of other crap in it.
Okay, so let's go back to my carrots.
Yeah.
I want to just go into the fridge and grab a carrot and eat my carrot.
Yeah.
But you're saying...
I'm
okay.
saying take those carrots, chop them up, especially if they're slightly wilted, which we all get sometimes. Like you have the carrots and you're like, shit, I haven't eaten these in a few days and they're wilting. You cut them up, you chop them up, you put them with water and a bit of salt. So there's different ways to kind of create a base, a brine. Sometimes you need the mother, which, you know, I can get to later. But this, for carrots, it's nice and simple. It's salt water, is all you need, and maybe like dill, garlic, adding other spices in there. And then you basically let it sit and ferment, you know, on the counter. I mean, it's that simple.
How long?
But about a week. You can go longer with it. And then what happens is like a minimum a week, but you know, you're now looking at 6 months. You can have those carrots out for 6 months. And you're now, when you go to take the carrot, you now have a crunchy, you know, I like dill and garlic specifically. So now those wilted carrots have now been boosted. They have like good bacteria in them.
Almost 6 months.
Right? Yeah. Right? This is the key. I have a neighbor of mine who's like she's been fermenting for years. She's old school, and her grandma taught her, and she's been teaching me a whole bunch, and she's the one that runs most of my workshops because she's just amazing. She makes these fermented, because a lot of people think sauerkraut and things like that with fermented.
Yes.
And she's more like amazing tasting, like, holy shit, this is fermented, you know?
Okay, so give me the foods, the typical foods that maybe the general person who hasn't fermented would try.
I mean, I feel like what's out there right now is sauerkraut and kimchi and maybe
that's not
kombucha.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Kombucha.
That is not appealing.
I know,
Okay,
right?
That is not appealing to anyone. I'm so sorry right now, and I'm sorry for those of you who are. But you've just said the three things that right now I'm going, not a chance.
Totally. So
I'm like, okay, this carrot thing I could buy into. But as soon as you start to do, like, I don't like kombucha. I've tried it. Trust me. Every time on the show, try the kombucha. I'm like, oh, I really don't like it. Can we do this without those three
totally
things that we assume is the fermenting?
Yeah.
part?
And so she came over one time. She had made sourdough bread, right? Which is sourdough's fermented. Yeah. And then she had cranberry chutney, which she had put on there. And I was like, no, this isn't fermented. Like, you're kidding me right now. So the woman that's running my workshops, and this is why I was like, oh my God, we have something here. Because she was making, like, we made apricot chutney last time. We've made fermented seed crackers. So you take like flaxseed and chia seeds, and you kind of like mix them with this whey. And we've made crackers, and they're with sea salt. They're amazing, you know, goat cheese, fermented goat cheese. So we're making stuff that's just really, really good tasting. She makes fermented muffins, like carrot, banana, and you can't.
I'm lost. I'm so lost. I'm so sorry.
I should have brought some in there. No,
I know
good.
That. Okay, when you say fermented, I'm thinking, and maybe for the listeners, most of us, I think, are thinking, I'm looking at a jar, like a mason jar, with like liquid and lots of things floating,
right?
And it's sitting in a cupboard for years, and you're scared to open it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking when you're saying fermented.
So there's so
fermented
much more.
muffins. I'm trying to picture what it even looks like.
Yeah. So if you take, like, I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can too for the listeners. It's like, if you take yogurt, for example, and the whey part of the yogurt, you know, that like the kind of liquidy, kind of greeny part, I wouldn't say it's green, but the liquidy part of the yogurt, that part is fermented, you know. That part is fermented, and that part you can take and you can sit in oat. You can like get oats to sit in it overnight, ferment them, let them sit in this whey. It's called whey. It's the byproduct. Is
that like the whey protein?
Exactly. So it's like, for example, you can ferment things by just letting them sit in the whey. That's how I make the crackers as well. And they just sit overnight, just like you would, you know, a bread, you know.
Why would people do this? Like, why go through the extra effort? I can see going and having a fun time doing a workshop and trying something new, but what is the benefit to all of this?
It's the gut health, right? So it's the probiotics, it's the good bacteria. We're learning more and more about the gut, which you've had people on talking about it, and the importance of the gut. And we're made of mostly bacteria, and most of that bacteria is in our is in our gut. So if that bacteria is off and it's not balanced, there's a whole host of things that can happen to our body in terms of health. And so we want to keep that balanced, and we want a lot of good bacteria. And this is alternative to, you know, people are coming on to the probiotic, the pills, and a lot of people are taking that, but they're not so like, how long have they been sitting in the jar? Like, sometimes they should be refrigerated, sometimes not. You know, how potent are they? The whole natural food, you just get so much more benefit from the food itself, from the source. You know, your B vitamins are activated. There's a whole host of things that are activated when you're having just the food itself. So just by adding, like for me, I had IBS, and I went back to nutrition school to try to figure out, because my doctor was just like, take some Metamucil. You know, nobody was able to help me out. You know, and IBS is usually, we don't know what's wrong, but something's off.
Yeah,
so
that's
you know,
the whole all-encompassing.
like,
you have IBS, and it's just like, I'm in so much discomfort, something's not right, and it's generalized.
Yeah.
A lot of people suffer.
Yeah. And so I was all like, I got to figure this out myself. So I went back to school. I knew enzymes, you know, taking digestive enzymes were a big thing that nobody talked to me about, that, you know, made a huge difference in my life, and probiotics. So a lot of people with IBS can relieve a lot of symptoms just with probiotics and enzymes. The probiotics, like once I started having fermented foods, for me personally, it just eliminated all my symptoms. My bowel movements were like epic. And amazing. You know, those
They
ones
were
that you're like,
orgasmic.
yes,
Yeah, it's
you're
okay.
like, that was a great shit. But like, it's satisfying on so many levels. But it was more of a personal thing where I'm like, oh my God, like I'm very healthy and I'm very conscious of that stuff. And just by adding a little bit of fermented food in my day, it was so dramatic in my own life. And then I started doing it with my clients, where I'd be like, okay, we would just do a kefir shake, like something that was so reasonable. So kefir is a little like, you know, pungent, I would say. And, but I would make it I would get clients to have that, a kefir shake. So they would have like kefir, the yogurt or the milk, and then they would add strawberries, bananas, and usually spinach. And it, you know, they're like, oh my God, this tastes so good. And I'm like, like there's just little ways to kind of implement it. Carrots are a big thing. The carrots, fermented carrots are just, you know, you can look up there's a lot of recipes online, but fermented carrots are simple. A lot of kids will eat them.
Okay, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to take a mason jar at home.
Yeah.
Right? Is this
Yep.
okay? I'm going to put water, cold water, warm water.
Room temperature water.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to throw in
salt. So you want to look online, or I'll send you. There's going to be a certain amount of salt, certain amount of water that you want to, you know.
I like to use like a Himalayan pink salt. Can I use that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to know the measurement of how much salt I'm going to put in.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to throw all my carrots, and not like the fake baby carrots. I'm throwing like real carrots.
Yeah, chop them up like they're skinny and fine, and you want them underneath the water.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you're gonna put any other spice you want.
So I like dill, cilantro, garlic.
Totally.
Kind of thing. Just throw it in there.
So you're going to put all of that in there. Make sure it's stuffed down. So the carrots are the best ones, because you want to make sure they're so tight, like they can't breathe, you know, like they're going to not float up. Okay. Essentially, so carrot stick type of, and you're going to put a cloth, like any kind of breathable cloth over it, or what do you call those? The white, it's escaping
like a cheese,
cheesecloth. Like you could just put a
cheesecloth,
cheesecloth, little elastic band, leave it for about a week. You could leave it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
So don't put the top of the mason jar on.
No,
just put cover it with the cheese. Thingy, the white thing.
And then you're getting some yeast in the air, some, you know.
And I'm going to let it sit there for...
Yeah, try about a week. And then at that point...
I'm totally going to do this. I'm going to post it.
You should.
I'm going to see how it's going to go. Okay.
And I'm going to send you I'll send you the proper recipe, later on today, and let me know what you think. Because I find the carrots the most reasonable, easy...
I think people can get their head around that.
Yes.
I'm honestly saying, I think people usually, or even on their Sunday prep, will cut carrots.
Yeah.
Carrot sticks, peppers, celery sticks, right?
Yeah.
So let's start and get people to try it with the one thing.
I love that you're going to start it.
I'm going to try this. Well, for me too, I like
simple.
I like simple, a tiny step in the right direction, right? You tell me to go make my own kefir or do sauerkraut, you've lost me.
Yeah.
I can do a carrot.
Yeah.
And I think most people can do a carrot.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with that.
Yeah. And then again, even getting, because you can buy kefir now like everywhere, like Loblaws, Farm Boy, all that kind of stuff. So even getting a thing of kefir and just adding it to your shake. So like getting a big yogurt container of kefir, getting it plain. You don't want to add the extra sugar in it. So getting strawberry or that, get plain. And then just add a little bit, add maybe 2-3 tablespoons to your shake.
And you anticipate that people's gut health, like this is the IBS or certain issues.
Yeah, I think everybody should be having fermented foods. This is how we used to eat, and I just think, like, I look around the amount of people that come to me with different digestive issues. It's so much, like it's increasing more and more and more. I see it all the time. There's just so many digestive issues around me and so many different diseases that stem from that. So I really honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that we've gotten way too far away from old school stuff, just eating whole natural foods, fermenting our foods to maintain the shelf life. In our winter, we used to take all our vegetables, cut them all up, ferment them. We've gotten away from all of that. We're doing the fast food thing, and it's creating havoc on our health. And you wonder, with all this depression and anxiety and everything that's going around our fast-paced society, fast with the food, everything's on the go. Like coffee is like, the amount of coffee we're all drinking, it's all affecting our health. So I think just by like something so simple as just by adding a little bit of fermented food to your life,
Okay, and then just really quickly, because you did mention the muffins.
Yeah.
How on earth do you do this muffin?
So the overnight oat thing, like everybody knows the overnight oats, where you just do the overnight oats and you put it in yogurt, or you can put it in whatever. So the whey, like to keep it simple, you have whey, and I create whey from... Again, you could just take some from a yogurt container, because there's whey in most yogurt containers that, separate the, but I also ferment my own milk, which is so easy. Your brain's shutting down.
I think
milk is so easy.
She's like, stop. Ferment my own milk.
You're cut
I
off.
have half the listeners going, and we're out.
My daughter is like so disgusted by my house right now.
But you like fermented stuff all over your countertops?
Kinda. Like, and I have a teenager that like, it is so disgusting in here. It looks, because it's like live bacteria. So, but like the milk, for example, you have the mother. So you have this gooey little kind of, I call it the mother, but you put that in milk in a mason jar and sit it on the counter. That's it. So anyways, the whey is the byproduct from the milk fermenting and separating. So let's just say whey juice. You take whey and you put that liquid on your oats and leave it on the counter overnight. That's it. And then you can take those oats and make muffins from them. You can, make your little oatmeal.
And that's your fermented muffin.
That's your fermented. It's so easy. Yeah, it's so easy.
I'm not knocking it, because I think for people who are desperate to have relief, I think, which will at some points try anything, right?
Yeah.
At this point. So that's really interesting. And I've seen your fermented workshops.
Yeah.
There's interest.
Yeah. There's a lot of interest. And look, I like coordinating them. This woman that's been doing it for, this woman named Catherine Armstrong, that's like, I've been learning, she's been teaching me, and I've been learning under her for a little bit now. I like her because she makes these tasty, amazing fermented stuff that you're like, there's no way this is fermented. And so I'm like, let's take that, because it's more manageable for the rest of the population that, like you're saying, are like, sauerkraut, kombucha.
Right. But you say a carrot, I'm good.
Yeah. And so our first ever workshop was at a retreat I did for women, and we did carrots. And so everybody was like, what? This is fermented? Oh my God. And then I got everybody's attention, because they're like, well, this is manageable. I could do this. And then we made it together, and it was very successful. And then from there, so we run about 4 a year. And then from there, I always try to pick something that's very manageable for people, that tastes really good. She always brings a lot of stuff she's made. And to be like, I don't run them right now, because I like learning and hosting.
No, yeah, like she's on there with you. Like,
Yeah,
I see that.
yeah.
But it's something that when you go to your site, you can see that it's part of some of the offerings
Yeah,
that you do. You do these workshops, or you do these retreats.
Yeah.
Those include what? Like a mixture of everything?
Yeah, I do them kind of maybe once a year, once every 2 years. And it's the same kind of concept of holistic health. So a lot of the workshops I've done, there's always a nutrition component. There's always a fitness component. There's always some kind of yoga or stretch. There's always some kind of mindful meditation, because again, I believe in those kind of 4 different pillars of health and balancing it all out. I love getting outside. So we've always done a whole outside fitness component part of it. And yeah.
The snowshoeing one was a big one.
Yeah.
We're getting out. We're finally out of the snow here. But a lot of people are taking an activity that's such a leisure thing and actually making it into
snowshoe boot camp.
Yeah.
So I'll just take it and I'll take a bunch of women, and I was doing it. I usually do it Saturday mornings. It's done now, but it was a thing I started a few years ago because I go all the time. And then when I was going, I always do, because I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm going to jog for like a minute, or I'm going to do 100 runs. I think you and I are very similar that way, where I'm like, how can I turn this into a little bit of a workout? And so, I would do push-ups on a tree that was fallen or things like this. And there are so many amazing paths in the woods and stuff like that around all of Ottawa. Like, we're so lucky. And around my area, there's so much amazing paths. And I always do outdoor boot camp in every other season. But then I was like, God, people get really down and people have a hard time motivating themselves in the winter. I don't. I really like the winter. I really enjoy winter activities. So I was like, okay, I just need to motivate people to get out and to start using their surroundings, And so what happened is I would have people meet, and I would, meet at different areas in the East End and go, okay, we're going to meet here. This is this forest and how amazing it is. And then people would go show their husband or take their kids, during the week or things like that. So I find doing stuff like that, it's a community.
There's
You're
a domino
enjoying
effect.
it. Yeah, exactly.
For what you do in studio and what your favorite things continue to be, because we talk about most of the time you're one-on-one, and you've dealt with a number of clients, and I've heard your stories over the year, like heart attack survivors, people dealing with illness, cancer survivors. What for you continues to be the biggest kind of pillar foundation on the physical side of things, of what you want your clients or what you need people working on?
Honestly, I feel like meditation, mindfulness. I just feel like a lot of people.
That's not going to help people get.
I feel like it will, because
Really?
I think, I think physical activity is very important. And I do believe that movement every day is important, right? Like I hands down think that. But even moving and what I see, especially in the corporate world is I'm generalizing a bit here, is people where they go and they have a hard work day and it's really intense, and then they do a yang type of workout, working out hard, 40 minutes, go, let's get it done. That still stresses the body too. The body's in constant stress. And when your body's stressed out, it doesn't function as well. You can gain a lot of weight, you can lose too much weight. Like, there isn't a balance there. So I think finding that stillness or being able to calm the body down or relax, stress is, I've watched stress, even kill some of my clients. Like, I've watched stress really create havoc on people. And when you're stressed and depressed, there's no amount of, you can't get up and move. You can't get up. And, if you're overtired, it's really hard to motivate yourself to move. So I honestly think having that meditation time or being able to calm the mind or get centered and sleep will help with physical activity, will help you move, will help your body function and burn fat better and, metabolize things a lot better.
So you have a client that could come in, a first-time client, and you look at them and they are stressed to the max.
Okay, I had one yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, you're looking at them and going, we're not going to do a high-intensity workout today. We're going to actually bring it down.
Yeah, well, I'll do both. So what I'll do is we'll do kind of if somebody's super stressed out, everything like that, I'm joking with them. I'm getting them out of their head. I'm making the workout fun. For a lot of women, for example, I love boxing because that's fun. I'll box a little with them. I constantly get them moving. So I'm thinking of a client yesterday who's super stressed out, just starting to work out again, has gained all this weight, and in her 50s, not knowing what to do. And it was just a matter of like getting her excited about fitness again. So we had this great workout, and at the end of the workout, we meditated. So at the end of the workout, we did a whole kind of HIIT type training, a little bit of boxing, a little bit of abs, all that stuff. But the last 5-10 minutes, I sat her down and we worked on some meditation and taught her how to relax her muscles, taught her how to relax her mind and create space between thought. And so now she's left the workout, because you can leave and be like still buzzing, right? And I want that buzz and I want the, the energy and the calories being burned and the muscles being activated. But then I want to be able to teach them how to now come down, now relax the system, because I think that's the yin and the yang, I think, are so important, and I've been yang my whole life. I was very, so it was hard for me, but I learned that for myself. So I'm trying to teach that to other.
That it made such a difference for you.
Huge. I've been able to maintain my weight going, I'm 45 next month, and it's hard because it's you have to work a lot harder at things. But
okay, can I ask you that then?
Yeah.
Because as we're getting older, it seems like we have to put more effort just to be able to maintain.
Yeah.
Or work 1,000 times to see results.
Yeah.
What is happening to our bodies? Why is it becoming so much more difficult?
Well, as women, we're losing muscle mass every year. We've got to watch our bone density as the years go by, and we gain fat quite easily. Especially going through the different hormonal changes that we do. But I notice movement's really important. I don't know if people move as much as they should. I definitely, when I went back to teachers college in 2015, and it was awakening for me because I had to sit down so much more than I was used to sitting down in classes, and I gained 10 pounds and my hips started hurting and my back was hurting. It's like, shit, this is what people go through.
Okay. So I went through I remember being vocal about it, and I remember writing about it in one of my blogs. So I would say maybe 8 months into this change of life for me.
Yeah.
I was in excruciating pain. My hips were killing me. I went from the morning show, those 4 hours, from 6 to 10. I was running.
You're walking. You're moving.
I probably did a couple K a show.
Yeah,
just going from the set to meet the guests to the bathroom to this. I walked the entire time, even though every time you saw me, I was sitting or on the set.
Yeah, but you are always moving
crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I would be moving for the 4 hours of the show. Hardly was really at my computer or sitting down. There was no need for me to be writing at length or, sitting at a desk for very long. And then I would finish the show and then I'd go work out and then I had the kids. So I never sat.
Yeah.
And then once I started this transition and I had a ton of stuff to write and I was writing art, I was sitting all day.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long for my energy level.
Right.
It became harder for me to work out.
Yeah.
Even though I was sleeping better, because I was sitting all day. And then my hips were starting to ache.
Yeah.
And then my body was sore from sitting all day.
Right.
And I finally, I remember saying to Tony, and I'm like, this is what people talk about. All of these years, I listened. And I know.
I say,
I was like, come on, how hard can it be? Don't you want to, after you've been sitting all day, don't you want to get up and move and stretch and move everything out? And I remember clearly going, no. Yeah. This is killing me.
Right.
And I finally got it.
Yeah.
How this is killing people. And so I had to make really, I had to be very aware of what I was doing all day.
Yeah.
And I now have to stand at my kitchen island. I brought the computer into the kitchen and I stand.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering when I get up why I'm in so much pain. And then I realized, it's because I was sitting. Or I work out and then I go right to sit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what am I doing? And so...
And this is the plight. This is what's hard with people who have those jobs like that. And you really do. You have to say no to things so you're saying yes to yourself. You have to mentally... It is easier for me to say this because I have a different type of lifestyle, but I've also made choices and I've chose this lifestyle and I have sacrificed some stuff. As I've gotten older, I don't work as much as I can. I don't make as much money as I could because I am walking in the morning. I'm getting up and I'm meditating in the morning and I'm going for my walk with my dog in the woods because that's how I ground myself. And if I'm not grounded, everything else isn't going to function that day. So, that takes priority.
You don't book a client.
Right? Instead of booking a client or just going, I just don't. I used to. And I also used to be very high strung, and there was a point where I was like, I can't keep going at this level, and again, I also noticed like my walk isn't a crazy walk. It's a low key meditative walk in the woods with my dog, but it's the woods, it's my church. And that going back to kind of getting your mind right, getting everything set. Well, then now, and like I will snowshoe, I will cross country ski in the afternoon. I will do something a little bit more intense. I believe in getting the heart rate up. I think that's very important, doing this strength training and stuff. But again, having that quiet time, having that time to yourself, especially if you're a mom, a dad, like when everything is buzzing all the time, when you got kids and needs, you have to take that time for yourself to ground yourself and then also be able to navigate through your health and fitness and movement. But it's really hard corporate wise to go back to moving. It's finding all those sneaky ways of like not getting caught up at sitting at your desk all day, getting up, walking to the water fountain, walking, doing meetings if you are on the phone and going for a walk. It's little things like that, leaving at lunch hour, it's easy to get caught up. It's this flow of getting caught up and all of a sudden a year has passed by and you've gained 10, 20 pounds and you're stressed out and like you really, really have to, like, this is all we got, like this is our life. This is all we got. So it's really a matter of like making priorities in your life and making choices. And
I like the success stories.
Yeah.
Like for me, like those, and I would assume too for you.
Yeah.
Seeing your clients start as one person.
Yeah.
And end as a different one.
Yeah. I have a client at the hospital that she's been doing my classes, and it was really interesting to see because when she first started, she was just doing one class here and there, and she was feeling sore all the time. She was very stressed out, and I just saw her yesterday. She does my classes 4 or 5 times a week, and now she started on the weekend, and she has 4 kids, and her mother had passed away recently and everything, but I'm watching all the stressors, still the same life stressors that are coming, and she's handling it so much better now. Like she's making so much time, like nobody can book her at noon. At noon is when she's working out now.
See, you have to make the appointment.
You have to
make the appointment for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you book everything else in,
right?
Book in the hour of self-care.
And it really does. Like when you focus on the fitness part, I find the nutrition part just comes along without having to, because when you go and you've like had a great workout and stuff, you're like, well, I kind of want to eat healthy after this. Or it's a trickle. It's a domino effect, like you were saying earlier. Maybe you're going to move a little bit more when you get home from work with the kids. Maybe you're going to, because this is what I see happen with a lot of people is they're sitting all day and then they're exhausted and you get home at the end of the day and then you're making dinner and you're running around and then you just want to sit down even more and relax and unwind, watching your shows and stuff. And that's the plight, that's the flow that ends up being really hard on the body after some time. So it's hard. It's getting home and being like, let's go for a walk instead. Let's go do this instead, instead of meeting, like a lot of my girlfriends, instead of meeting for a glass of wine, they know that I'd rather meet and go for a walk, and touch base that way. So it's creating these little habits that create a different flow.
And then you have the wine when you get home.
Yes.
There's still wine.
I still balance it out for sure. Yeah. It's all about balance.
You have a young daughter.
Yeah.
How do you emphasize?
You won't tell the story that I did this
You
already.
will not tell the story of how you
She'll
shocked the entire extension marketing team here. But how do you now influence her decisions and her?
It's hard. I really find it's hard because she's 16 and because I think everybody in my whole, like my mom teaches fitness too. Everybody's like such fitness fanatics in my family. I feel like she did like, fuck all of you. And she went the other way. With it, and so my challenge is because I did have to go through it where I'm like stressing out because she's not eating well. Like she's a sugar fanatic. And then I'm like, oh my God, she's having too much sugar. And oh my God, like, so I've gone through that trying to control things. And then you end up, you're always bitching at them or complaining. You should be having this. Why are you having that? And at 16, I don't have as much control. She can eat she makes her own money. She can buy what she wants to buy when I'm not around. So I've kind of had this little change in the past year only because I struggled so much with it. And she doesn't like sports and she doesn't like physical activity. So for a little while, I was like losing my mind. And then I had to change things up because it wasn't helping. And It's not good for her. I can't put my stuff on her. So I just started focusing on I just put all that attention on myself. It's going back to what my mom did. My mom never bugged me about that stuff. My mom was never on me. She just lived her life. So I had to go just be an example, be a role model. For me, I got a dog. And so part of her chore is just walking the dog. It's something small, but it gets her outside, and she has to do it every day for 30 minutes, or I do little things, or I wouldn't say trick her, but I've had to find little ways of like, let's go for a walk and go to the store. Let's go get an ice cream at McDonald's and walk up there, and then just had to back off because it wasn't working. And so I honestly just take care of my own health. I just let her watch me take care of myself. And I'm hoping that's going to click in for her at some point.
Not having the pressure from you.
Not having the pressure, not telling her what she should be doing or shouldn't be doing, letting her figure it out. And that's the hardest thing as a parent, is watching them fail, watching them fall, watching them hurt themselves, watching them hurt their body, and just go, they got to figure that out on their own and really step back and not trying to control that. It's really fucking hard, but I'm getting better.
Because you're telling your clients they're not allowed
the
to
opposite,
do that.
right?
Yeah.
Like people are coming to do, and like to be in a trainer mode all day, and people are coming to me for that advice all day, and then I'm like doling out to my daughter, and she's like, I'm not asking you, and fuck you, and like she gets more rebellious about it. So I'm like, oh, that's me, because I don't like being told what to. So I have learned, but it's been a challenge to just back off. And I'm starting to see, my daughter now goes to work out in the basement on her own, albeit just for 10 minutes. She's just doing abs and, but she's doing it.
And you're not telling her to
and
do
I'm
it.
not telling her to do it, So I'm like, all right, it's starting. And then like the other day she's reading about Candida. Like, why didn't you tell me about Candida? I think I have Candida. I'm like,
What is that?
Overgrowth of sugar, having too much sugar in your body.
Okay.
So I was like, in my head, I'm like, I've been telling you eat too much fucking sugar for so long, but whatever. But yeah, it's challenging as a parent that way.
To be able to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, okay. So top 5 thing, I'm putting you on the spot, but your top 5 recommendations for an individual that they can, small changes or something that you would recommend for them.
Find some kind of meditation that you do every day, whether it's a minute, 5 minutes, it's an app, whatever you can. Meditate on a daily basis. Move your body every day, whatever you do. Keep it diverse, whether you're walking, yoga, anything. So move every single day. Add 1 fermented food to your daily diet. Learn to say no to things. Don't feel guilty about saying no. If you feel overextended, don't say no. Put some boundaries down for yourself, and eliminate, I would say, toxic people from your life. If there's certain people that you find toxic and they're unhealthy, start backing away. Better for your health. 5
easy things to do.
And
the checklist is done. People can find you personalizedfitness.ca, if I'm correct in having said that email a number of different times. www.personalizedfitness.ca. That's where you'll find Tanya. I know, because I was just on, there's details about the work that you do, the private stuff you do, the group stuff, the retreats. And you'll start back up. We don't even want to rush winter. We're just finally starting to not see the snow, but lots of activities for then too. It was so nice to catch up. It was really, really nice. And I have to say, like, early in our days, we worked out together. We did some boxing together. Like, it was a ton of fun. And one of my favorites for Today's the Day, because you introduced me to the Bosu ball.
Yeah.
Which is like one of the key things that I do and I talk about, and a piece of equipment to have. But some really great ideas. Oh, and the sliders and the gliders.
Oh, right.
That's you also for me.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a slider or a glider, you use a Frisbee. You use a Frisbee if you have a carpet, and you use a towel if you have hardwood.
Nice,
See,
right?
I remember all these.
And now I find I'm looking at a lot of your Instagram stuff, and now I'm getting like lots of ideas because I love it. It's so awesome to see that progression, because you know so much. Like you've interviewed so many people. Like so much stuff.
I take a little bit from everyone and then just kind of combine it. I've been very fortunate in that way to kind of see it. And I think I've always seen the changes coming because I've always been interviewing
And you're
people.
very self-motivated yourself, I find, with physical activity. You've always made the time.
Right, but it's my self-care. I'm a better person being active.
Yeah.
When I don't, my brain starts going, and then I get bitchy.
Yeah.
And I don't. And I'm really nice.
Yeah.
I just really am. But I just need to get my 45 minutes in, and it's just the way it works.
Yeah.
We all have our little quirks.
Right.
We really do. Tanya, it is a pleasure. And for those of you that are listening, thank you so much. Remember to like and subscribe and share and let people know that this podcast is out, and be able to help in the growth of living your life with Lianne Laing. That's a wrap.